Today, I'm gonna have a look at the gaming laptop recommended by our corporate overlords. In fact, I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos is sitting on his yacht right now gaming on one of these bad boys. Although, just because this is what the Zoz is packing, does that mean you should get one too? Probably not. But before we find out, today's video is sponsored by Boot.dev, an awesome way to learn the very valuable skill of back-end giggity web development in both Python and Go programming languages. Boot.dev put a lot of effort into gamifying the process of learning programming so that you can trick your gamer brain into thinking that you're just playing some programming themed RPG, but you're actually learning a super valuable skill. And another thing that adds to the engagement factor of the courses is that there's a lot of practical learning involved, so you're gonna write a whole bunch of your own code, which, I don't know, practical is the only way I learn anything, so that sounds good to me. So if boot.dev sounds good to you, use the link down below to try it out for free, or use the code Dawid to get 25% off your first payment on a paid membership. When I think of a gaming laptop, I can't help but picture tacky hexagon vents behind which hides a dedicated graphics card with terrible thermals that sounds like a Harrier jet. And most importantly, it needs to actually be able to run games. Although I've clearly missed some memo, because this Ace something or other is the Amazon's Choice gaming laptop, and on first impressions, it doesn't have any of those things. In fact, it looks more like a Chromebook that's cosplaying as a dollar store MacBook. Now, how the Amazon's Choice selection process works is kind of shrouded in mystery, and Amazon's own explanation of how it works sounds borderline victim-blamey to me. But either way, in today's video, we're gonna see how well Jeff's laptop holds up as the gaming laptop it apparently is. Now, on first impressions, the laptop is kind of capable of opening one-handedly, and the build quality, this is kind of AliExpress laptop plastic, but the lid is metal, so that's nice. It does kind of trick you briefly into thinking that it's a decently built laptop. Although the moment you get inside and see those fake speaker grills, that illusion is thoroughly shattered. Those speaker grill stickers give me some real strong deja vu. Oh, trackpad seems trackpaddy. Oh, the keyboard's really not great, but at least you get a numpad for your gaming sessions. On the note of size, this is a 15.6-inch display that I hope very much is 1080p and high refresh rate, but considering that the Zoz games with it, it probably is at least 1080p. Ooh, the bottom is also metal. That's very nice. Again, if you just touch the outside of the laptop, it does trick you into thinking it's a pretty well-built laptop. When it comes to opening it up, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. We've just got these screws, and the bottom plate doesn't wrap around to the side I/O, so we're not going to break any I/O when we take the back off. There's also some ventilation and what I assume to be the actual speaker grills on this side. In terms of I/O, on the left, we've got a bunch of good stuff, even a full-size HDMI port. You gotta believe the Zoz is powering some external displays with this bad boy. And then on the right, aside from some more USB, we've also got a micro SD card slot, which I don't know why manufacturers bother with this. Do people still use this size? Let me know in the comment section down below. But with that, let's see how easy it is to crack open the laptop, and then we'll discuss our high-tier gamer specs. Now, aside from a definitely not a warranty void if removed sticker, getting the back off was even easier than I thought it would be. Oh yeah, I should just be able to lift that off. That is a very easy to get off top because it is metal and it doesn't have any of those dumb plastic clips that keep it in place. And then under that metal plate, I can see why Jeff uses one of these. You can upgrade the RAM, you can upgrade your storage, you can replace your Wi-Fi card. There's even a bit of heatsink going on, although the one thing that you'll notice immediately is that there's just one location where the heat pipes are coming from, and that's because this gaming laptop doesn't have a dedicated graphics card in it. This is an AMD 5700U, which has an iGPU in it, so it should be able to do some gaming, but we don't have a graphics card in here. And this laptop costs quite a lot for a gaming laptop that doesn't have a graphics card in. But before we check out the price, let's fire it up. When it comes to the VD situation, it was all looking good. Yeah, look at that. It's clean as a nun on confession night. That's very good. Unfortunately, the trackpad was terrible, and despite it having a 1080p display in it, it was just a 60Hz refresh rate display. Ugh. Although its dual-channel RAM configuration did give me some hope for its gaming performance, at least in terms of an iGPU, so yeah, let's see how it games. This is a 1080p low settings, and it's not going very well. Oh my god, it's performing so inconsistently. Sometimes it feels reasonable, about as reasonable as 40 frames per second can feel, but then you get these big lag spikes that just get you killed so hard in CS2. Okay, so it's been a while now. I mean, I was literally about to say that it hasn't stuttered in a while, and then that happens. Now, when the stutters do eventually calm down, mid-50s at 1080p low for CS2 is not an impressive result for a gaming laptop. Especially not at this price point, which we'll, again, discuss in a little bit. But at least the temperatures are good. Look at that. Because it's not doing much, the temperatures are good. It's also quiet. Now with Doom Eternal at 1080p medium settings, which is not very high. This isn't a game that's super hard to run. It's worse than CS2. It's about 26 frames per second, and it really feels that way, to be honest. But I will say this is on the border of being playable. Fortnite at 1080p with everything low but epic view distance, it feels very CS2-y. It's playable, but it just straddles that border. That minimum, however, does mean that if you ever meet the Zoz in a lobby, you're almost definitely going to be able to destroy him, because yeah, this isn't a super competitive experience. You can see here that there's quite a lot of big stutters as well. I think that's a pretty normal thing with Fortnite, but at this low frame rate, those stutters feel really bad. Oh, Jeff, is this really how you game? This is terrible. At 1080p low settings, Cyberpunk isn't able to break 15 frames per second. Ugh. Although, maybe Jeff understands the power of Fidelity FX. Maybe that's how he gets acceptable gaming out of his laptop. I feel like we need at least performance here. It's quite a bit better, but it's still not even 24 frames per second, which is the bare minimum for human perceived motion. Although, because of how small the display is, the Fidelity FX isn't quite as visible. It's very visible, but it's less visible than it would be on a 27-inch display, for example. So I guess that means we can crank it even harder. Giggity. Oh yes, we're getting very close to a consistent 24 frames per second, although now the visual quality has significantly dropped off. It is starting to look pretty bad now. Interestingly, our CPU is working harder than I'd like it to be working at 24 frames per second, I'd be honest, but it's not 100%, so we do have the option to just really plumb the depths of savagery here. Wow, considering that it looks like we're gaming in a puddle of pixel vomit, it's not running as well as I'd expect it to. I guess this is kind of in line with what we were getting with the other games, so this has to be the settings that Bezos uses to game on this laptop. I can imagine he's a big fan of Cyberpunk, considering the themes in the game apply quite heavily to him. Now you're probably watching the video going, ew, David, you're so rude to Jeff's gaming laptop. The guy just lost like $700 trillion the other day, and he's clearly having to cut corners so that he doesn't lose his mega yacht. Well, to prove to you that this is at best like a mediocre Facebook machine, I'm gonna compare it to this laptop, which you can currently buy from Amazon for less than the Ace Magic. And if you buy it from Best Buy, you can get it for $150 less. Oh, and in terms of that price, it's 150 CAD less than the 900 Canadian dollars I paid for the Jeff top. And for that 150 Canadian dollars less, you're getting an RTX 2050. Now, in all fairness, the laptop in its stock configuration just has a single 8GB stick of RAM, which is gonna kick its performance right up the scrotum, but you have $150 left to upgrade it with. Although surely, considering that it's had both its Achilles tendons sliced by its RAM configuration, it's not gonna be that much faster than Jeff's laptop, is it? Oh wow, that is a much bigger number. In fact, it's more than double the size of the Jeff laptop's number. It does fluctuate a little bit, and you can tell that we've got a lot of performance headroom left. And despite the abomination to Zeus that is the HP's RAM configuration, it wipes the floor with the Amazon's Choice laptop, and the same goes for Doom Eternal and Fortnite. But because of the abominable RAM configuration in the HP laptop, that performance is quite variable and very stuttery. And in Cyberpunk, it wasn't as much faster than the Amazon laptop as I was expecting. Like, those frame rates aren't that much higher on the... Oh, wait, actually, no, never mind. I used the ZOS settings on the Amazon's Choice laptop, so, actually the HP is a lot faster. And then when you upgrade the RAM configuration in the HP laptop, which again we can afford to do because of the price difference, the performance delta in CS2 grows massively. In the other games, it didn't climb as much, but the 1% lows were a lot better, so the actual gaming experience still massively improved. So at the end of the day, what did we learn in today's video? Well, apparently Amazon's Choice is a really good way of knowing what not to buy. What a useful tool that is. And until the next video, thank you for watching. Bye bye.